So we have a new team on the Formula E grid for next season, the ERT team. Well, let's be honest, they're not exactly new. They are actually the former Neo 333 team. This has got me puzzled slightly because I'm just not sure what's happened here. Now, if you look, Neo are a semi-successful Chinese EV car maker, which has been making cars for a few years now. I mean, they've got some very powerful cars on offer, and they're going to soon start offering cars to wider European markets. So we know the ER team, or the former Neo team, were owned by a Chinese government consortium. Now, if you look at the Formula E webpage, you clearly see that the ER team are listed as a UK team based in Silverstone. A quick look on the UK company's register doesn't appear to reveal any ERT racing team registered in the United Kingdom. So they're obviously still owned by this Chinese consortium, which isn't a problem. ERT have made a statement saying that obviously they are a test bed for electric vehicles for the ability to be able to learn information. Now you've got to remember, they do pride on the fact that they're not an OEM manufacturer and they're not reliant on OEM supplied parts. To that extent, they use X-Track gearboxes and integral powertrain for the development of their power unit. Now, let's be honest, if you're an EV manufacturer trying to break into the European market, surely having your name on a team is a good way to promote your company. Perhaps maybe there's a clause in that contract that due to the recent sliding performance in the ERT or the former Neo team, perhaps maybe that's why they've decided to break this off. Now, you've got to remember, when ERT first joined the Formula E circuit, they were the China Racing FE team back in season 1, and they did a fantastic job. So obviously they've had to branch out on their own. But if you do look, you can't actually find much information. It seems like quite an abrupt end of a contract, or perhaps maybe even a termination. It has got to be performance related. Neo obviously want to sell their cars in Europe, and let's be honest, having your name attached to one of the worst performing cars in Formula E this season is not a good look for your brand. So I'm assuming there's been some backroom conversations. So that being said, that must mean that Neo was never really supplying any parts to the ERT team. As we've said before, they're using X-Trax gearboxes and EV engineering from Integral Powertrain. So quite clearly, this was just a branding deal. And I think that's probably where Neo have got a bit upset. The fact they can't carry their vehicle brand on the side of this car to promote their business. I feel like what Neo have shown they can do with their vehicles and their electric technology would have translated very, very well into Formula E. It's all very well saying we're happy we're an independent team and that we can do our own thing, but that does incur some problems. It means you've got to develop everything. You're the one that's got to try and build this technology, and you've got to try and learn on the go. And perhaps maybe that's ERT or the former Neo team's problem, is the fact that they've had to constantly try to adapt and change, where other large manufacturers, the likes of Porsche, Jaguar, Nissan, they have been making EVs for quite some time now. I don't think ERT are going to be very competitive next year. I really think this not being tied to a manufacturer is going to harm them going forward. And that is why I think Neo have pulled the plug on their sponsorship deal. Perhaps maybe for the Gen 4 season, they reevaluate and they go with an OEM manufacturer, or at least have some sort of tie-in to help them develop and maybe push themselves forward. I certainly don't think we're going to see any ERT branded cars on our road anytime soon, put it that way. I do think that lack of OEM support is what's harming them now, and I really think that's going to be holding them up.